I miss who I was before I knew any better. Before I really understood how people really are. Before I realized how this world actually works. Since everything has gotten heavier as life has gone on. To start, when I was really little, I was very outgoing. I was very energetic and happy. I didn't overthink every single little thing. And I didn't question people's intentions. I just assumed that everyone was good-natured. And I thought that people were generally fair. I thought they were generally kind. I didn't know what corruption was. I didn't know about religion, sin, damnation. And I didn't even know people could lie to you because they just wanted to. I just existed, and that was very simple for me. To just exist and be content with myself and the world around me. I remember one of the first moments of my life that broke the entire illusion. I was maybe like 4 or 5 years old, and some girl that I barely even knew existed walked up to me at school, and she looked me dead in the eyes and said, "I'm better than you." With no context, no reason. And I just sort of froze in place. Not necessarily because it hurt me, but because I didn't understand. Why would someone go out of their way just to say that? What did I do to deserve that? And did that make her feel good to say that to me? That was the first time I really started to realize that maybe people aren't what I thought they were. And it didn't stop there. Going through school, I learned pretty quickly that kids are fucking awful. And not just to me, but to so many other kids I saw. They got it worse than me. There was always someone being picked apart, laughed at, and torn down. And a lot of people, even some of the teachers, just acted like it was fucking normal. And I was always like, I've always been a very small person, like very petite, very non-violent, quiet, sort of like I didn't go out of my way to like talk to kids, because ever since that first experience I was a little shaken by it. But I still, I wasn't confrontational. I didn't look for a fight. I didn't want to fight anyone. I just wanted to exist in my own space, in peace. But that didn't stop anything. I remember my parents telling me that you can just stand up for yourself. If you get into a fight, we're not going to punish you. And I remember thinking, why would I even want to fight someone? Why would that even be considered normal? Why is hurting each other just expected? It didn't make any fucking sense to me. And over time, something changed. By the time I was around 15, I wasn't that same hopeful, happy little kid anymore. I was very resentful, very spiteful, very angry. Not just at the people around me, but at the realization that this is just how the fucking world works. And that cruelty is not rare at all. It's commonplace. And that good people do exist, but they get buried under everything else going on. All of the chaos, all of that noise. And I think that's when I made a decision that if the world was going to be like this, then I wanted to be the complete opposite. I would be honest. I would say what I actually think, what I believe. I would always tell the truth, even when it hurt, because I was so sick of the lies. And then there were lies that hit closer to home. I was taught growing up that I could always trust my parents, that they would always love me no matter what, that they would never lie to me. And then I found out something real simple that we all do, that Santa Claus wasn't real. It was just a lie. It seems very small, but it planted something inside of my head that they are capable of looking at me right in the eyes and lying and telling me something they knew damn well wasn't true. Maybe it didn't hit like that for everyone else or a lot of other people, but for me, it sent a message that I was lied to, and it was just that black and white. And then I realized something even bigger, that being bisexual was seen as a stain on the family, on our society where I grew up. It was very Southern Christian, lots of Baptists, gross. And then, suddenly, by the time I told them this, I started coming out about it. I found out that this love and support had conditions. It had limits. It wasn't unconditional anymore. It was, we love you unless you make us uncomfortable. And then they're going to bring their friend over to try and convince me why I shouldn't just be myself. Why I need to be saved. Why I need to be helped. I didn't need help. Especially from people I couldn't even fucking trust to begin with. And when I admitted that I didn't believe in the Bible, that I wasn't even sure if I believed in a God, I was on the edge of being completely alienated from my own family just for being honest and thinking differently from the rest of them. And in a strange way, all of this really did shape me. And depending on how you look at it, it made me a lot stronger and it made me more resilient. But more than anything, it made me value truth over comfort every single time. But even with all of that, I still miss who I was before I knew better, before I questioned everything, before I saw how people can really be. There was something peaceful about not knowing, about believing the world was simpler than it really is, about thinking that people were just good people. But that world doesn't exist. It never did. And it's probably not getting any better anytime soon. So I'm going to keep doing what I've learned to do, to speak my mind, to tell the truth. And I won't hold back and I won't apologize for being real. I'm not so easily hurt anymore, so maybe that's growth for you. But every now and then, I still think about that little girl that I was. The one who didn't understand cruelty. The one who believed that things were fair. The one who didn't know any better. And part of me wishes just a bit that she was right. I know that some of what I say makes people uncomfortable. It's going to. Some people will hear this and get angry. Some people will disagree with me entirely or fall somewhere in the middle. And I've made peace with that. Because my goal isn't hate. I don't hate people. I can disagree with you. I can despise your worldviews. I can look at your beliefs as a symptom of a bygone era. But that doesn't mean I hate you as a person. Maybe I hate my current government, but that's another story. Because I judge people by what they do and how they treat others and by how they carry themselves in the world. That's what really matters to me. And I'm not going to stop speaking about what I believe is true. Not because I think I'm better than anyone, but because I know what it feels like to question everything. And to feel like you're the only one doing it. And maybe that's what this is really about. Not changing everyone's mind or winning anything. It's just, if even a few people hear this or watch my videos and start to feel a little less alone, or they start questioning something they've always been told, then that's enough for me. That means this mattered. I want to uplift people who already see it. The ones who know something feels off, even if they can't fully explain it yet. I've been there. I know what that feels like, personally, deeply. And because I also want to just be someone that these people can find when they're trying to figure things out for themselves. Because I have been there. And yeah, maybe the world isn't what I thought it was when I was little. Maybe it never was. But that doesn't mean it has to stay this way. Maybe that version of the world, the one where people are honest, where everyone treats each other with some level of decency, where things feel a little more real. Maybe that doesn't exist right now. But that doesn't mean it can't. Maybe it's not something we find. Maybe it's something we can build. And if that's true, then the only way it ever even becomes real is if people start choosing it now. So yeah, I miss who I was before I knew better. But I wouldn't go back. Because now that I do know, I can't pretend anymore and I wouldn't want to anyways.